Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors Academy, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, but also how we're going to fix it together. And the content that we're going to talk about tonight is another step in the battle of what we're doing to nullify the mag bans, the AR bans. This is an important step, particularly coming on what we've already seen in the past 2 weeks. Everything that I'm about to show you will be linked in the description box below per usual, and I can't wait to hear from you guys in the comments. Let me know if I land this plane, if I'm onto something, and of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on. And the content today is brought to you by a new sponsor, Delete Me. Check out a word from them, and then we're going to hit this. And the content today is brought to you by Delete Me. And Delete Me's mission is simple. They believe that you have the right to own, manage, and remove any personal data that you have out on the internet that you don't want out there, particularly against these data brokers. Now, I'm sure you've heard reports where people will aggregate data on you from your spending, clicking, and visiting habits and then sell it to the highest bidder. That is an opportunity for people to do scams against you. That's an opportunity to target you for political beliefs and also just overall not a good idea, and that's what Delete Me is here for. Now, Delete Me is a subscription-based service that is hands-free and will move all your data away from any data broker all year long, and that's why I personally trust them. They will put together a specific report for you in the first 7 days. They will remove your email address, your phone number, your address, all of those things. They will consistently scrub the internet for them, and you can make individual requests for things to be removed. And if you act now, there's a 20% discount that's been on the screen and also in the description box below just from Delete Me for you guys, my viewers. Thank you so much to them, and I hope you check it out. All right, let's get into this, my brothers and sisters. We are going to take a little trip together to Vermont. Why Vermont? Well, it's really important to understand when we're diving into this, what we're looking at, again, from a standpoint of mag bans, which is the rage of the left, and then also some AR bans, some waiting periods, basically all the talking points that have been assaulted through the Bruen decision over the past year and a half. This is important because as we go into this, remember what the 7th Circuit just did, saying AR bans are totally fine. And then the SCOTUS came in and said, well, we're not going to stop that because there's not enough reason for us to get involved again. Keep that in mind. Now, I'm going to be looking down at my notes, and again, let me know what you guys think about this one. So, let's hit it. Check this article out. This just happened today. Gun rights groups sue Vermont over 2 firearm laws. Now, as I mentioned in that, the laws in question here are mag bans and waiting periods. Now, waiting periods, a right delayed is a right denied, right? We all know that. We all stand by that. So why is that coming up now? Again, everything has to percolate up to the top. I reference a triangle a whole lot. This has all got to keep coming. This one is coming from Vermont. Keep that in mind. Vermont's over here. Oregon and Washington are over here. Chicago's right here. California's down here. You're talking about a lot of things that are going to percolate up through different circuits. We are heading in the right direction. All right. So as I mentioned earlier, of course you remember this. This happened last week. U.S. Supreme Court declines to block Illinois assault rifle ban. That was a wet blanket. But it's got to come from different directions. That's the whole point of this video. Now, let me show you what they're doing. Again, this is in its own words. The lawsuit challenges the state's newly passed 72-hour waiting period for firearm purchases and a ban on high-capacity magazines that became law in 2018. This is the sacred cow to the left. Understand, if this falls, they're not going to have a whole lot left. And as we are pushing and fighting back, we are climbing that triangle. All right, so, like I said, this came out earlier today. In a lawsuit filed in the U.S. District Court District of Vermont on Monday, the Vermont Federation of Sportsmen's Clubs argues that the laws violate Vermont's Second Amendment rights. One contested law approved last year imposes a 72-hour waiting period for firearms purchases. The other law bans high-capacity magazines and became law in 2018. So just so you know, that's what we're referencing. Now, here's the angle they're going at this. And again, look at this through the lens of what just happened in Washington with Measure 114, what's going on with Chicago with the Illinois assault weapons ban, what's going on with AR bans in California. All of these things are filtering up. Throw some New York sensitive places in there, then you throw some Vermont waiting periods on assault weapons bans, and as you can see, it's all their sacred cows, all their sacred talking points going towards the highest court in the land. That's what we're talking about. Now, let me show you this. Brady Tonizing, I think I butchered that name, sorry, an attorney who frequently represents conservative-leaning legal clients in Vermont, including those in Monday's lawsuit, told VT Digger via text message that Bruen, quote, put an end to interest balancing when it comes to Second Amendment rights. Interest balancing refers to the idea that restricting a right can be justified if that restriction helps achieve a governmental policy goal, such as reducing rates of suicide, for example. Now, that's important because their whole point in Vermont was if you have a waiting period for a firearm, that can be a cooling off period. And there won't be any suicides because of the 72-hour waiting period. Someone's going to clearly go and get help, so we're fine. Don't worry about your rights because interest balancing. That was the entire point. Interest of someone preventing suicide versus your Second Amendment rights and being waited on. That was the entire idea. Well, the Bruin decision invalidates that. Interest balancing no longer is a valid way to restrict rights or justify restricting rights. So with that gone, you guys see that triangle that I was referencing. Let me show you the next thing here, and this is important to understand in the light of everything that we're talking about. Quote, the Supreme Court made it clear that governments may not impose arbitrary and pointless restrictions like Vermont's waiting period and its ban on commonly owned, important, standard capacity magazines. These restrictions unconstitutionally infringe on Vermonters' fundamental right to self-defense and must be struck down. Again, he is lacing in, and this is why it's so important to look at the entire picture and know all the ins and outs of this. You've got the Heller decision, which was referencing common use. Common use comes in with standard capacity magazines because they're common. Interest balancing, out the window because the Bruin decision. Do you see where this is going? Again, don't think right above the circuit court level. Think what's happening nationally. Again, that same map I drew out for you. Washington and Oregon, California, Chicago, right in the middle, Illinois. Then you got New York, then you got Vermont. All of these pieces are going through different circuits, and they will eventually get to the top of that pyramid. And that's where it comes full circle with the Seventh Circuit decision on AR bans. Soon as Washington's gets there, soon as California's gets there, soon as Oregon's gets there, all of these pieces are going to urge the Supreme Court to go, okay, finally, there's something that we have to adjudicate because you got multiple circuits doing this. You saw the exact same example in the bump stock ban. They did nothing when the Fifth Circuit ruled it unconstitutional. The Sixth Circuit came out and said, yeah, it's perfectly constitutional. Then they took the case up. You're seeing the exact same thing over and over again, but you have to plant those seeds of freedom before you get a freaking oak tree. Just saying, and that's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what you think. Let me know if I landed this plane, and I will see you on the next one. I'm Braden. See you later.